a new Beauty Rest, Sealy Posturepedic, and CertaPerfect Sleeper just for shopping local.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Our 43 beds from the top 5 brands start at $393.
I like that.
Try and buy with no pushy sales guy.
I love that.
Free next day delivery too.
Thanks.
For what?
For being different.
Shop local and enjoy a $200 credit through Monday at Hassletless Mattress. Open 9 to 9. Find a no-hassle, employee-free showroom near you or shop online at hassletless.com.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate, not one based on anyone else. So if you drive safely, you could save money. Good to know. Visit allstate.com or call for a quote today.
Are you tired of being tired? Go to adventknows.com.
Be sure to listen to the Annex Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Annex provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Donald Trump in court. Will he lose a couple of his properties to the state of New York? We will be following this here as we begin another busy broadcast week on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Welcome to it. It is week number 2 of the state's largest early vote drive. By now, I'm sure you know the deal. You vote early at some point today. You let us know by giving us a text at the adventknows.com talk and text line, 414-799-1130 or 1-800-838-9476. You can also email me. You can also shoot me a DM on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Dan O'Donnell Show, where we are streaming live via our Dano Cam, as well as on Facebook, facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well, and our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. Carrie, already on the air on the Dano Cam. Good morning, Dan. I hope I am the first to say that I mailed in my absentee ballot on Saturday. You absolutely are, Carrie. We love hearing from all of you folks, and we have got literally thousands, and I mean thousands of people who have said that they have early voted. What makes me feel real good is that a couple hundred of them, at the very least, said they have not early voted before, but are doing so at my insistence to take part in the state's largest early vote drive because they understand the importance. I'm not going to get into it again, but you know what? Maybe I will, because I want as many human beings voting early as humanly possible. And you're saying, well, why, Dan? Why do you love early voting? I don't. I hate it. I want to go back to one day of voting, not 2 weeks, not a month, not if the Dems had their druthers, 6 months as soon as the primary is done. Yeah, let's vote. We need to get as many mail-in ballots in the hands of as many people as humanly possible. I don't want that, and the only way to get rid of it is to do it better than Democrats, so that Democrats are begging us, literally begging us, to go back to single day voting. So we have got all that on the show today. We are going to be running down the complaint against the UW-Madison diversity czar. Take a wild guess what he's in hot water for. That's right. Plagiarism. And, of course, the big political news here in Wisconsin, the sudden resignation of Congressman Mike Gallagher, effective April 19th, a little less than a month from now. So there won't be a special election. His district will just be unrepresented until the November election, which isn't the biggest deal in the world, except for the fact that there is now another mutiny. It seems we can't go a couple of months without having a mutiny against this Speaker of the House of Representatives. That's just what we do as Republicans. So Republicans are now down to a one-vote majority. We'll get into the sudden resignation of Mike Gallagher. It was known for some time, about a month or so, that he wasn't going to run for re-election, but it is something of a stunner. He says he's got a family issue that needs his urgent attention, and that's why he needs to leave Congress early. I know. I'm not exactly sure what to believe on that score either. But the biggest question that I get all the time, and I get it over and over and over every single spring. It's sort of like a rite of spring. You see the first robin. Well, I get my first question, Dan, who do I vote for school board in this tiny school district in northwestern Wisconsin I've never heard of? I kid, of course. I always try to do my best to help people out, but it's very difficult for me as just one man to follow all of these different races. If they're in tiny little communities that I have no real knowledge of, I say, well, what you should do is ask your local county Republican Party. They should, if they're doing their jobs, put out a voter guide. They should be helping you with candidates who are strong conservatives, who will govern as conservatives, who will represent you in the school board or represent you on the town board or whatever it is, to the best of their abilities as conservatives. And if your county party doesn't do that, you should be asking, why not? You should be saying, hey, it is your job to inform the electorate about what candidates the Republican Party. Now, some Republican parties will say, well, we don't want to get involved in local politics. We don't want to, make it seem like we're playing favorites. These are nonpartisan races, after all. We want to be nonpartisan. Give me a break. Democrats have been doing this for years, just like with early voting. It's time to beat them at their own game. Well, I am pleased to tell you, folks, that we now have the voter guide for Milwaukee County. This is the county that I have been asked about more than any other caller. Our good friends at the Milwaukee County Republican Party, led by the chairman, good friend of the show, Hilario De Leon, they have put out their Milwaukee County voter guide, and right now you can get it only on Common Sense Central at both newstalk1130.com and WIBA.com. I will get it posted on X and posted on Facebook during the first commercial break. I was running a little late, chasing down a couple of stories right up until the moment our theme song started playing, it seemed like this morning. But they have got all of the questions that are on the ballot, the Wisconsin constitutional referenda. Vote yes on number 1, vote yes on number 2. The one thing I'm a little disappointed on, at least I'm not seeing it, they do not have a recommendation on the MPS referendum. That would be a big no. What was it, Randy Jackson on American Idol? That's a no from me, dog. Journal Sentinel has a sob story. Have you ever heard of the strategy Firefighters First? Firefighters First is if you ever threaten to cut a local budget, if you ever say, well, we can't raise taxes, your local government will always cut the firefighters first. They're never going to say, well, if you cut our budget by 7%, or more accurately, if you don't give us the 7% tax levy increase that we're demanding, we're going to cut the DEI department. Everybody be like, okay, sure, yeah, go ahead, cut. I'll hand you the scissors. No, they say firefighter. So what you always cut is something that people are going to miss. We'll get to that story coming up. They also don't have a recommendation for the Milwaukee City Attorney. As much as I am not a fan of Evan Goyke, although I have actually, bizarrely, we have a mutual friend who contacted me and said, hey, I've known Evan forever. He is a wonderful guy. He's incredibly nice. Dan, you would probably like him. I'm like, you know what? Yes, I probably would. I'm easy to get along with. I don't endorse But Tierman Spencer, the current city attorney, has been such an unmitigated disaster. I would honestly endorse Kamala Harris if she was running against Tierman Spencer. That is how bad. Think about, okay, Tierman Spencer says just as stupid things as Kamala Harris. In fact, we've got an example that I'm going to get to in just a second from over the weekend. Tierman Spencer also is terrible at his job, which, yes, I get also applies to Kamala Harris, but I find it difficult to believe that Kamala Harris could screw up an office as badly as Tierman Spencer screwed up the Milwaukee City Attorney's office. But there are great recommendations in aldermanic districts in West Dallas, in Cudahy. There are school board recommendations in Franklin, Oak Creek, Whitnall, Greenfield, Cudahy. And oh, by the way, we are indeed bringing back our very popular segment, Better Know a Candidate, where if you are a conservative or conservative-leaning local candidate, we will give you a minute, 2 minutes on the show. You just call in and you say, hey, I'm running for this. Here's why you should vote for me. Now, we are opening this up to liberals, too. I want to make it clear. We are opening it up to everybody. But if you're a liberal and you are running for something, be prepared because I am going to grill you. And if you're a liberal but try to get on the show pretending to be a conservative, I am going to grill you even harder, and you will probably earn my wrath. And that usually means me telling thousands and thousands and thousands of people not to vote for you and telling them that over and over and over again. I am thinking as it stands right now, we are going to do this on Wednesday. This Wednesday, as in, what do you think, Dave? Next Wednesday? Next Wednesday is the day after the election. Yes, obviously, we're going to do it this Wednesday. So the number is 414-799-1130. Don't call right now. Wednesday morning, we are probably going to dedicate, I always say 1 hour, and then it's too late. So we're probably going to dedicate the entire show. In addition, I am on the Mark Belling late afternoon show all week long. Mark is back, I believe, a week from today. So we will also do at least 1 hour on the Mark Belling late afternoon show. It's a public service show. So, you know, obviously, if global events, if another British princess says she has cancer, we'll have to break in. If there's another terror attack in Russia, and don't worry, we'll get to Princess Kate. We'll get to the Russian terror attack all coming up later on in the show. But if you go to newstalk1130.com, WIBA.com, you will find the Milwaukee County Republican Party's voter guide. All right. I'll tell you what, we're going to break it up a little bit. I'm going to take this first commercial break a little bit early because we have got Kamala Harris saying Kamala Harris things, and also a perfect illustration of how much trouble Kamala and Joe might find themselves in because of the pro-Palestinian crowd. I got my hands on a mailer that went to one of my listeners, and I assume a whole lot of people in the Bayview neighborhood and across Milwaukee, urging them to vote for Wisconsin's equivalent of uncommitted, and how big of a problem this might be for the two of them. We will have that and much more coming up on the Dan O'Donnell Show next.
Join us for our 2024 iHeartRadio Music Awards, live from the Dolby Theater in Hollywood.
Monday, April 1st. Watch on Fox, starting at 7 p.m. and listen on the free iHeartRadio app.
Tesla Aprenolast is a proud partner of the iHeartRadio Music Awards, a celebration of artists and the fans who got them there. The fans who make the music truly come alive through their energy and positive vibes. To the fans that make live music possible, we salute you.
Well, that's why you have to check out our website. We're pretty proud of our before and after photos because they show off just how good we really are. I can confidently say that whatever you bring us, we're going to use every bit of magic we have to turn it into a one-of-a-kind work of art. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY, finishing.com. If it's worth restoring, we're going to tell you. If it's not worth the cost of restoring, then we're going to give you an honest answer. You don't stay in the furniture finishing business for nearly 50 years unless you're honest and talented. Luckily, we're both, and that means all of your expectations will be met. So if you want only the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
Jay Weber here. If you're someone who's experiencing shoulder, spine, hip, knee, or musculoskeletal pain and a total joint replacement might be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Find them at orthowisconsin.com. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, their physicians are committed to providing the highest quality of joint care and specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center in Milwaukee. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
All right, Father's Day, graduation season right around the corner. And if you're looking for a really great, unique gift, you got to check out the personalized receiver covers from my friends at Henry Repeating Arms. Now, they're available for Henry's Golden Boy and Golden Boy Silver rifles, which come in 3 calibers, 22 LR, 22 Magnum, and 17 HMR. Just go to henryusa.com and type in personalized in your search box. Well, there you're going to find a link to the product page with step-by-step instructions. They can engrave any message that you want, up to 20 words, and the process is easy, it's simple, it's affordable, and it doesn't require a gunsmith. Check out Henry's personalized receiver covers if you're looking for a great gift for dads or grads. Make sure you get their free catalog. They mail it with free decals and a list of dealers where you live. That's henryusa.com. You get the free catalog, free decals. They have 200 rifles, shotguns, revolvers to choose from, and you're going to love this company. I know I do.
The next generation is here. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show. The next generation is here. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
Well, that might be a first on The Dan O'Donnell Show. Double bumper music. For those wondering where I was, had to get some coffee. Wait, hold on. All right, now I can continue with conservative thought and not just talk here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Producer Dave wants to know where if you're watching on the Dan O'Cam, I have got a Cocaine Mitch, as in Cocaine Mitch McConnell, coffee mug that my son gave me for Christmas maybe 4 or 5 years ago. It's been a while. And this has been my go-to coffee mug because, it's from him, and also Cocaine Mitch is one of the funniest memes I've ever seen in politics. It was a guy who was challenging somebody in West Virginia. His name was Don something or other. And he said, Mitch McConnell cares about his China family more than he cares about. It was a guy running in a Senate primary in West Virginia to take on, oh my gosh, who eventually won that prize? In any event, I don't remember what the guy's name is, but he alleged that Mitch McConnell had a secret Chinese family that he was paying for by importing drugs into the United States. So at the end of his ad, he looks directly at the camera and says, "Let's ditch Cocaine Mitch." And then Mitch McConnell's social media team turned it into a hilarious meme. And if you can see, this is actually the Scarface logo, only instead of Al Pacino's face in the cocaine, it is Cocaine Mitch. I actually got Dave. Dave was so envious of my Cocaine Mitch mug that I actually got one for Dave, too. I'm still ticked off they sent you the smaller one instead of the bigger one. It was just some seller on Etsy. Yeah, it was the Chinese. It was Cocaine Mitch and his China family sending me the wrong sized mug. But yeah, you use that baby all the time, too. It's become something of a thing here. Oh, that's right. Yep. Dave, for years, has been Cocaine Mitch Trubisky in our fantasy football league. Okay, enough about fantasy football. You want to get to the politics, don't you? Kamala Harris is warning Israel against stepping up its assault on Hamas from the city of Gaza to the city of Rafah. Why? Because, I don't know, she goes on MapQuest.
We have been clear in multiple conversations and in every way that any major military operation in Rafah would be a huge mistake. Let me tell you something. I have studied the maps. There's nowhere for those folks to go.
Studied the maps, huh? You do realize if this was Vice President Sarah Palin, this would be a week-long news cycle. I've studied the maps would be right up there with I can see Russia from my house, but because it's Vice President Veep, Kamala Harris, it's going to be just sort of forgotten. Now, this sort of speaks to a larger political truth. Is there anybody saying that Russia does not have a right to defend itself against the ISIS terrorists who killed 133 plus people and injured hundreds more in a horrific attack? It would have been Friday afternoon, our time, Friday night in Russia at a concert hall. This was shades of the horrific attack in France years ago that ISIS also claimed credit for. But this is one of the worst terror attacks that we've seen in recent memory. Now multiply that by 10. And imagine if the ISIS terrorists who struck on Friday night still were holding hostages 6 months later, including several Americans. And there were Americans all across this country and global pro-ISIS mobs demanding that Russia did nothing, that Russia immediately had a ceasefire, even though 1,000 of its citizens lay dead. Even though 100 plus were still being held hostage somewhere in an intricate network of tunnels underneath, the city of Rafah. Imagine if we just demanded that they stopped. Well, isn't that what's going on with Israel? Well, the pro-Palestinian group is making some demands of the White House. A mailer that went out apparently a couple of days ago and received by a loyal listener and forwarded on to me is demanding that the White House, in multiple languages, telling the voters of Wisconsin ahead of the vote to vote uninstructed on April 2nd. Not for Joe Biden, not for Dean Phillips, but for, apparently we have on the ballot, uninstructed delegation. I was unaware of that, but the point is, don't vote for Joe. April 2nd, tell Washington, stand with justice, impose a permanent ceasefire in Gaza now. No matter what we look like or where we come from, we all deserve safety, freedom, and justice. The war in Gaza affects all of us, while families right here in Wisconsin face rising prices or grieve for loved ones caught in the horrific genocide. Billions of dollars and American troops have been moved to the Middle East as Israel escalates towards potential regional warfare. We can vote now to stop the bloodshed. By voting uninstructed to end the war in Gaza, we call for a democracy that reflects the will of the people. Join the call for peace. Join our movement at listentowwisconsin.com. This follows very successful, uninstructed or uncommitted votes in both Michigan and Minnesota, the two states, obviously, that sandwich our own. Those two states have much higher concentrations of Muslim American voters who are, by definition, more sympathetic to the pro-Palestinian cause. Michigan especially has a whole lot of Palestinians in especially the Dearborn area. How do you think Rashida Tlaib was elected to Congress? Well, same deal with Minnesota. Minneapolis has a very high concentration of Somali Muslim people. How do you think Ilhan Omar got herself elected to Congress? Those spooked the White House because of how successful. There were 100,000 uncommitted votes in Michigan. In Minnesota, uncommitted got 19% of the Democrat vote. You think that's not sending a message to the Biden administration? Why do you think Vice President Selena Meyer is suddenly studying the maps to tell us that, well, Gaza and Rafah is just a bridge too far? Would this woman ever tell, or would any of these people, I am dead serious about this, would they say to Russia, and we have seen throughout the weekend pictures of the bloodied terrorists who were arrested after this attack. One of them was missing an ear, and I don't even want to guess what happened to that ear. Would we ever tell the Russians, you don't have a right to punish these terrorists as you see fit, to chase them wherever they may hide? Let's say there were hostages taken. I mean, it's insane, the demands that they're placing. But these pro-Palestinian mobs have had a dramatic effect on White House policy, because now all of a sudden there's a rift between Bibi Netanyahu and President Biden. Biden is now saying, well, we can't allow for the continuation of hostilities. We want an immediate ceasefire. Remember a couple of weeks ago, Biden actually lied about negotiating a ceasefire with Bibi Netanyahu. Netanyahu was asked about this and said, oh, I know absolutely nothing about this. This guy is obviously not telling the truth. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Classical conservatism, contemporary style.
Are you sick of living with outdated, worn-out countertops but are unsure of who to trust with the job? This is Eric from Granite Direct saying we're here to help. From humble beginnings more than 15 years ago, Granite Direct has built a reputation as the go-to place for natural stone and quartz countertops. From the moment you walk in the door, you'll start to experience the Granite Direct difference. Our knowledgeable, no-pressure sales team will guide you through the countless options and answer all your questions along the way. And you'll leave confident that you've made the right choice. Then peering out into our shop, you'll not only notice the state-of-the-art machinery, but expert craftsmen inspecting and putting on the finishing touches, making sure every job is just right. Then the day arrives. You look out your window to see a Granite Direct truck in your driveway. That's when one of our experienced install crews, treating your house like their own, expertly install your new tops, turning your vision into reality. Look, we're not super fancy, but we love what we do, and we're really good at it. If you're ready to make a change, we're ready to help. Where technology meets craftsmanship, we're Granite Direct.
Dan O'Donnell here for my great friends at Mander Collision and Glass, now with 6 locations to serve you. You hear me talking often about Mander's customer service. Well, here's one of their customers, Haley, who writes, I had a small chip in my windshield. I called and came in right away to see if it could be fixed. Mander had a glass technician in the building that day, and within 20 minutes of arriving, my chip was filled. Very friendly staff and great customer service. My husband and I have used Mander for a few needs with our vehicles, and we will continue to go to them. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Haley. Your loyalty is a reflection of Mander's extreme dedication to customer service. They'll go the extra mile as a matter of policy, and that is why I tell so many people to go to Mander. Now with 6 locations to serve you, Mander truly is your best decision after a collision or for windshield repair.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. Most people know us as a trusted landscape contractor, but did you know that we've been crafting decorative concrete and masonry features for almost 30 years? All concrete is not the same. Do you know what to ask for when planning a landscape project that includes concrete? For example, there are many types of concrete mixes available, and if you don't request a premium mix, you'll likely get a bargain mix, and a driveway or patio made with a bargain mix is not a bargain at all. We use only premium concrete mixes from trusted producers, and our decorative concrete and masonry features are crafted by our own artisans, not subcontractors. There's so much to consider when preparing for your landscaping project. Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services has been serving southeastern Wisconsin since 1994. We are an established, trusted landscape contractor. Please call 262-392-3444 or look for us online at seasonalservices.com.
This is Michael Lynch from the Lynch Truck Center. We've been working hard sourcing work trucks from all over the country. We currently have over 300 commercial work trucks in stock and ready for your choice of upfit. Our sales team is 100% dedicated to commercial trucks, which means our truck professionals can get you the right truck right now. Our new inventory of Chevrolet, GMC, Isuzu, Hino, not to mention our used inventory, combined with nearly 30 commercial financial lenders, ensures the lowest rates possible for you and the fastest buying experience. Our service center has over 20 dedicated truck bays running 2 shifts, a contact-free sales process, and delivery drivers ready to deliver your truck right to your door. We know your time is important, so we make sure our process is quick and hassle-free. Find your new truck today at lynchtruckcenter.com or stop into the Lynch Truck Center at Highway 36 in Waterford. We won't disappoint you.
The Wisconsin Conservative Digest presents another Voterly Rally this Tuesday from 5 to 9 p.m. at Palace Restaurant, Highway 100 just south of Greenfield Avenue in West Allis. Enjoy some food and drink and listen to several great speakers. This Tuesday evening from 5 to 9 p.m. at Palace Restaurant in West Allis. Sponsored by Pro-Life Wisconsin, Wisconsin NRA members, Tea Party conservatives, and 4th District GOP Bob Spindell. Don't miss the Voterly Rally at Palace Restaurant in West Allis. Tuesday evening.
If we've learned anything from the headlines, it's that unexpected things happen too often. Those in charge say everything's fine. Stop noticing. But you know better, and your gut knows that time is short to prepare for what's around the corner next. My Patriot Supply has helped over 2 million families become more self-reliant and is the company Americans trust to prepare. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contains tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Get at least 1 food kit for each family member. For a limited time, save $200 plus get free shipping on all their Ready Hour 3-month emergency food kits. You're not ready if it's not Ready Hour foods. At My Patriot Supply, you can also get solar-powered generators, water filtration units, emergency medical supplies, and heirloom seeds. Shop MyPatriotSupply.com today. MyPatriotSupply.com.
We asked people why they sold their homes to Grandview Homes instead of using a real estate agent.
Everything they say in their ads is true and then some. Very fair price, no real estate agent fees or closing costs. They even switched the utilities out of your name.
Within weeks, we had closed and couldn't be happier.
Whether you have a hard-to-sell home, want a stress-free sale, or simply need to sell your home fast, Grandview Homes is the name you know and the name you can trust. Visit GrandviewHomes.com to discover the easiest and fastest way to sell a home.
Did I just hear an ad for the Wisconsin Conservative Digest holding some event at a local fish fry on the Dan O'Donnell Show? That's funny because the guy who runs the Wisconsin Conservative Digest apparently wrote an entire Substack about how big a rhino Dan O'Donnell is and what a liar Dan O'Donnell is. Substack is, I think it was Substack. I read maybe a paragraph of it. Someone pointed out, hey, Dan, this guy who runs the Wisconsin Conservative Digest is blasting you. I assume it was over the Walker recall, or the Walker recall, the Voss recall. And this guy says, well, Dan O'Donnell is a liar. He's a rhino. and we're going to pay money that goes to Dan O'Donnell to advertise on Dan O'Donnell's show. Again, when I say these aren't the brightest bulbs in the Christmas tree display, this is what I'm talking about. We are running the state's largest early vote drive here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Voted, says Jerry. Hi, Dan. My husband and I voted this past Saturday in the small township of Franklin in Manitowoc County. Early voted, town of Norway. That comes from Bob and Luann. Good morning, Dan. I just early voted in New Berlin. I did not tell my wife or extended family as I'm the only conservative in the family. Love that. Not for you, good sir, but just kind of keep it between us about the early voting thing. Dan, I just voted early in Muskego. That comes from Paul from Muskego. My husband and I both voted early on Friday in Wauwatosa. Patricia from Muskego early voted this morning at City Hall. You vote early, you shoot us a text, let us know about it. It is the state's largest early vote drive. Joining us now with a special announcement is State Senator Dewey Strobel, one of my favorites in the Senate. Dewey, welcome to the program, my good man.
Good morning, Dan. Good to be here.
Well, sir, you have got an announcement to make. What is it?
I do. Well, I've had the honor of representing the 20th Senate District since 2015, and it truly is an honor because, again, I look at these jobs as public service. It's not a career. I give my job 100%, but I still run my own business. And frankly, I think it keeps me grounded and in touch. But no longer representing the 20th. I have the misfortune of having built my house on the wrong side of Cedar Stalk Road.
You know, really, that's your fault, sir. You should have anticipated that in 2023, a random liberal majority would declare the maps rigged, and then they would redistrict you out of your own district by half a block.
Well, if I was on the other side of Cedar Stalk, I would still be in the 20th. Since I'm on the south side of Cedar Stalk, I'm now in the 8th. But frankly, I've spent my entire life now in the new 8th, and I am very much looking forward to serving the new 8th. And again, I think I've really challenged the status quo in Madison, and I've helped to achieve generational reforms in K-12 education, significant improvements to the tax and regulatory environment for families and businesses, and really we need to continue to work on our criminal justice and public safety issues too. But there's more work to be done.
And what are you going to focus on in representing the 8th? Because we did hear earlier from Dan Knodel, your good friend and fellow state senator. You were drawn into the 8th with him. He says he's going to instead run for the state assembly to basically clear the path for you. So it was sort of known that you were going to, you guys had a gentleman's agreement. And may I say, kudos to the two of you for figuring it out, not forcing a bloody primary or anything like that, because this is an issue. There are a whole lot of state senators, whole lot of assemblymen and women who are drawn into the same district. Weird how it works that there were way more Republicans than Democrats. In fact, the only Democrat Senate pair features two Democrats from the Madison area, one of whom is leaving the Senate anyway to run for Dane County executive. Okay, so there's that. What do you plan to focus on, and what do you plan to continue on, I guess, assuming you're reelected in the new 8th?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because Dan Knodel was very gracious to step aside and allow me to run for the 8th Senate seat here now. But one thing to be aware of, this is now pretty close to a 50-50 district.
Yeah.
So I have always focused on common sense and practical legislation, things that really make a difference for families and businesses in the state of Wisconsin. And I believe that independents and some Democrats are seeing the results of these liberal policies. Dan, they're just not working, okay? Right. And I think more and more people are seeing that. And I think we're going to start to see a trend in that direction. So even though this district might be considered 50-50, I think come November, I think, as I said, some of those independents and Dems are going to be, maybe they won't become Republicans, but I think they're going to be voting a little differently because they're seeing that some of these things just are not working.
Do you think that even though the maps are clearly gerrymandered to give Democrats an advantage and designed really to ensure that they're able to retake the majority, at least in the Assembly. The Senate, I believe, Republicans still have an advantage. Do you believe that Republicans are still able to hold both chambers in spite of the map disadvantage that you now have?
Well, as you alluded to previously, as far as pairings go, there were almost 40 Republicans paired and 2 Democrats. So quite the coincidence, wouldn't you say?
Isn't that weird?
But, yeah, really weird. But I would say that, yes, this session or this election cycle, I think we have a strong probability of maintaining the majority, frankly, if I win. If I win, I think we're there. If I don't win, I think our majority could be at risk. So it's really important. I could be the majority maker, frankly, in this race. So, we need to control the majority in both houses, frankly, because I'm the vice chair of Joint Finance, and I know when it comes time to negotiate that budget, and that is so much of what our state government is all about, that if we have to look at one of the houses being controlled by a Democrats versus having both be controlled by Republicans, it's going to be a totally different budget, and we are not going to see the fiscal prudency that we have seen in the past few years to control the size of government and to make sure that our citizens are at the forefront and not a bunch of bureaucrats in Madison.
He is State Senator Dewey Strobel. Sir, do you have a website up and running for your reelection campaign?
Yeah, it's Dewey for Senate. We're just getting geared up with that. It's fairly generic at this point in time. But, my big issues are going to be crime, education, the economy, and frankly, illegal immigration, how it impacts our state. I think these are all things that we can make many advances in to make this a better state for the people of our state.
He is Dewey Strobel. That is DUEY for Senate.com. DeweyForSenate.com. Sir, best of luck to you. I'm sure we'll be in touch quite a bit between now and Election Day because, frankly, we've still got an entire election and then a primary to go. So no shortage of political stuff this year. Sir, best of luck to you. Thank you for coming on and making the announcement on our show.
Thanks, Dan. You take care.
I am Dan O'Donnell. Coming up next, we will name the unhinged liberal of the day. We will also talk about some financial stuff. Stay tuned. It's conservative thought, not just talk.
Don't let the stress of buying a new car outweigh the excitement. With Car Gurus, you can buy or sell a car exactly how you want. That's why millions of people use Car Gurus. Do all the upfront work online and search their massive selection by budget, make, model, and features. Compare prices to know you got the best deal, then head in for a test drive. Take charge of your buying or selling experience today and get it with Car Gurus at CarGurus.com. That's CarGurus.com.
Traffic jams, tailgating, pileups. Ugh, the joys of driving. How could it get worse? The federal government wants to have a say in what you drive. That's right. The Biden administration's EPA is pushing mandates that would ban 2 out of every 3 vehicles on the road today. Don't let Washington become your backseat driver. Protect the freedom of driving your way. Visit EnergyCitizens.org. Paid for by the American Petroleum Institute.
We've told you about Moses Hadara,
the diamond cutter who created the Kessler 81.
The magical diamond that vibrates with light.
Kessler's works with crazy diamond cutters.
Geniuses who create wonderful, spectacular,
crazy diamond shapes.
The one thing these crazy genius diamonds all have in common
is that they explode with light.
The Kessler Emerald Cut diamond sends out rippling waves of light, like water lapping onto a beach.
The Kessler Square Radiant Diamond glows like the sun on the horizon.
Sometimes sunrise,
sometimes sunset.
Come to Kessler's.
Come to Kessler's.
Come to Kessler's.
Ask to see the rippling waves of light, like water on the beach.
Ask to see the glow that looks like sunrise and sunset.
Ask to see the Kessler Crazy Genius Diamonds.
See them for yourself.
See them for yourself.
See them for yourself.
To find the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
It was was a doozy, all right. Apparently, things got a little out of hand, as evidenced by the job description.
Repair heel marks on conference table.
You get the picture. Office party, a few too compelled to use the top of the conference table as a dance floor. And as you expected, we showed up on site and made that tabletop as good as new. By golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. Well, if you haven't heard me bragging by now, we're darn good. Actually, my dad has no qualms about saying we're the best. And if you're skeptical, I understand. But all you have to do is go to MullallyFinishing.com to learn why we're great at what we do and see lots of before and after photos that show off our impressive work. So if you're looking for a name you can trust, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. There are a lot of great dads out there. Sometimes those dads get divorced. For more than 30 years, we have represented men in divorce, confronting the pitfalls that could devastate your finances or harm your family relationships. While every situation is different, our goal is to get the best outcome for you and your kids. Visit CordellCordell.com to take the first step.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Milwaukee attorneys. 111 East Kilbourne Avenue, Suite 1650, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 53202.
Hi, my name is Joseph Hastretter, owner of EWH University. Listen in every Sunday at 11 a.m. on WISN and let me show you better strategies for increasing sales and generating more business.
Get your patio summer ready with maintenance-free furniture from By the Yard with a 35-year warranty. Check out By the Yard at the Realtors Home and Garden Show. Visit their brand new showroom in Oconomowoc or shop at bytheyard.net.
Holidays amplify depression and anxiety that afflict good people. Intravenous ketamine therapy empowers patients to reset and restore their relationships, especially their most important relationship, the one with themselves. R&R for Relief, Reset Restore MD, Brookfield and Mequon, rnrmd.com.
Tune in every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. as Ellen Becker Investment Group highlights local people and organizations who are using their time and their talents to give back to make a difference in our community. Milwaukee's philanthropic community. Visit ellenbecker.com to learn more.
Don't think twice, call Geis. Need a new garage door, do it right. Don't think twice, call Geis.
For all your garage door needs, don't think twice, call Geis or visit their online showroom at geisstores.com.
Academic Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368.
Don't settle for a flimsy bank pre-approval. Get the pre-approval listing agents and sellers recognized as better than the rest. The rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet. Get yours by clicking on the blue button at ACCUNET.com.
State's largest early vote drive underway here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, and we are seeing results flow in constantly. Early voting today in Menominee Falls, says Cheryl. Just voted in Mount Pleasant. Can't believe there's no Racine Unified School District referendum for another $1 billion. They also asked me to be a poll worker. I obliged. That comes from Chuck. Chuck, thank you so much for volunteering. Good morning, Dan. My wife and I voted last Friday afternoon. Come to find out, our town hall is only open for 4 hours a week. That's on a Friday from 9 a.m. in the morning to 1 p.m. Obviously, we live in the country, so there's not much of a rush to early vote here. Thank you, though, for going the extra mile, quite literally, to get to your early voting place on the correct day. My daughter and I had to register after moving late last year. Then we voted early at the same time in Waukesha at the Waukesha City Hall. I voted last Wednesday in Plymouth. Thanks, Dan, for all you do for Wisconsin. No, dear voters, dear listeners, thank you for making the state's largest early vote drive such a smashing success.
Make me crazy.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
Make me crazy.
All white people are racist.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is dangerous because he's evil. America is over.
Today's unhinged liberals of the day are all of the liberals on NBC freaking out over the fact that the network gave a contributor contract to now former RNC chairwoman Ronna Romney McDaniel, who appeared as a guest on Meet the Press yesterday for a previously scheduled interview. And the furor was so great that host Kristen Welker actually had to open up the show by apologizing to the libs who watch it.
I'll be joined by former RNC chair Ronna McDaniel in her first interview since stepping down as party chair. In full disclosure to our viewers, this interview was scheduled weeks before it was announced that McDaniel would become a paid NBC News contributor. This will be a news interview, and I was not involved in her hiring.
Okay, that's fine. And I'm assuming you were also not involved in negotiating with White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki to get a show on MSNBC while she was press secretary. Nobody seemed to have a problem with that slight lapse in journalistic ethics, right? In fact, the Jen Psaki show is on MSNBC every single Sunday, where she spouts the exact same talking points that she did when she was press secretary. In a rather bizarre turn of events, Welker had on as one of her guests the dude whose job she took, former Meet the Press host Chuck Todd, who apologized on behalf of NBC to Kristen Welker for making her interview Ronna McDaniel, which they did.
Let me deal with the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
I think our bosses owe you an apology for putting you in this situation, because I don't know what to believe. She is now a paid contributor by NBC News. Well, I have no idea whether any answer she gave to you was because she didn't want to mess up her contract. She wants us to believe that she was speaking for the RNC when the RNC was paying for it. So she has credibility issues that she still has to deal with.
Speaking of credibility issues, during the 2020 presidential campaign, Chuck Todd interviewed Senator Amy Klobuchar, a presidential candidate, multiple times without ever disclosing that Chuck Todd was Amy Klobuchar's landlord. Klobuchar was renting a home from Todd at the time she was running for president. Clearly, there was a conflict of interest there that needed to be disclosed. It was never disclosed. But now, Chuck Todd is standing up for the journalistic integrity of NBC because he is just that honest a journalist. He is also, and so is Kristen Welker, and so is every other person freaking out that a Republican is now being hired to do the same thing that Democrats are hired to do all the time. They are your unhinged liberals of the day. It is time now to know the difference between financial advisors. We bring in the president and CEO of Annex Wealth Management, Dave Spano, to talk about the markets. It was a heck of a week last week, Dave.
Yeah, it really was. And watching that yesterday morning, I thought Chuck Todd was going to go into cardiac arrest. Watching that show, that was interesting for sure, Dan.
How dare NBC hire a former party chairperson? Now let's flip the channel to ABC. Oh, there's Donna Brazile, who was literally fired as DNC chair for trying to rig a primary for Hillary Clinton by feeding her the questions to a debate with Bernie Sanders. And oh, who was the host of ABC's This Week? George Stephanopoulos, who was hired directly from the Clinton administration without a single day's experience in journalism. He was hired to host Good Morning America, one of the most prestigious jobs, I use air quotes with that, in journalism. Do I have this right? Do I have the Jimmy Carville is still, the guy's 105. He's still doing talking head appearances anywhere that'll have him. Okay.
All right. That was, I knew I would lose my couple of minutes, but I threw that back to you. But that's okay. You know, we talked about what the Fed said last week, and of course they talked about perhaps changing feathers. You know, there's talk about hawks and doves. Well, he may be a chicken, Chairman Powell. So we'll find out if he does change his feathers and they lower rates. The reason why I bring it up, because there's two major issues with that. We had these no-brainer rates for most of the year at 5%. You can go and get a 5% CD or money market. So those are out there. If they turn around and start lowering rates, which they are likely to do here in 2024, what happens to the saver. So the expectation right now is that rates could go from 5 to 4% in 2024 and 4 to 3% in 2025. But who knows? These dot plots, or dart plots, as I like to call them, is really just a guess. There's this conundrum because, of course, $34 trillion in debt. And when they have that, they go out and buy treasuries, and all of these treasuries are going to expire in the next 3 years when they could have had longer rates some time ago, and they're going to have to refinance at higher rates. The interest rate on the debt is part of the conversation. The other side of the story, of course, is that savers aren't going to get what they've been getting. So time to look at your portfolio, say, should you lock in rates? Should you go to longer term bonds, perhaps municipal bonds? Should you put it into equities? That is what is the question of the day.
And that's a question that can sort of be answered as you work with someone who's working with and for you by getting a fee-only fiduciary to take a look at your portfolio. It's called a wealth metric. It is available at annexwealth.com. I did it. I love the team that Dave has put together, and Dave and I will be recording a brand new episode of The Difference, our weekly podcast, right after this radio show. Right after the top of the hour, we talk about Mike Gallagher's sudden resignation. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Ted Allen. Assembly Speaker Robin Vos is endorsing Donald Trump for president. Vos tells WISN TV's up front the decision to make Trump the Republican nominee for president in 2024 was already made in the early primaries, adding that since Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, or anyone else who is running didn't succeed in defeating Trump, the former president is the Republican nominee. Trump backed a primary opponent against Vos in the 2022 election. Vos also called the effort to recall him illegitimate. He claimed that outside groups backed by Democrats are behind it. A fatal shooting on Milwaukee's northwest side Saturday night happened near 39th and Stark, where a 42-year-old was shot and died at the scene. Milwaukee police are investigating as they look for a suspect in the shooting. 2 people were shot and wounded following a Milwaukee road rage incident yesterday afternoon. It happened near 49th and Villard. It led to 2 victims, ages 23 and 25, to be sent to a hospital with non-fatal injuries. Police took a 30-year-old into custody, while the 25-year-old shooting victim was also arrested. The Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office is looking into charges. ISIS has claimed responsibility for a Friday night massacre at a popular concert venue on the outskirts of Moscow. Armed assailants stormed the Crocus City Hall, killing more than 130 people. Nearly a dozen people have been detained in connection with the atrocity. Checking the WISN Sports scoreboard after trouncing the Oklahoma City Thunder last night, the Bucks next host the Los Angeles Lakers tomorrow night. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Allen on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. I frequently speak with people who are unhappy with their landscaping and they're unsure how to turn things around. Well, here are 4 tasks that will make a remarkable improvement to dull landscaping. Number 1, thick, lush green grass. We need food and water to be healthy. Our lawn care programs and irrigation systems provide your grass with everything it needs to thrive. Number 2, pruning. Regular, technically correct pruning keeps plants strong and vibrant. Number 3, plant bed edging and a fresh layer of bark mulch. There's nothing better than the look of crisp bed edges and fresh mulch. Number 4, landscape lighting. You finally have your landscaping looking its best. A landscape lighting system lets your landscaping come alive after dark. So there you are, 4 landscaping tips that amplify the beauty of your home. Please call Seasonal Services at 262-392-3444 or look for us online at seasonalservices.com.
Here's the latest forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Light rain at times today. We should see around a half an inch by the time it all dries up. 54-hour high today. Feeling colder with a strong southeast wind gusting to near 30 miles per hour at times. Light rain continues tonight into tomorrow. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Pearl Specialties Olives in the Sunny Yellow package.
Original MTV VJ Martha Quinn here. Pearl Specialties Olives are bursting with flavor and add the perfect Mediterranean twist to everyday meals and snacks. Rock your recipes with Pearl Specialties Olives. For quality you can trust, look for the sunny yellow package and get deals at olives.com.
This is Michael Lynch from the Lynch Truck Center. We've been working hard sourcing work trucks from all over the country. We currently have over 300 commercial work trucks in stock and ready for your choice of upfit. Our sales team is 100% dedicated to commercial trucks, which means our truck professionals can get you the right truck right now. Our new inventory of Chevrolet, GMC, Isuzu, Hino, not to mention our used inventory, combined with nearly 30 commercial financial lenders, ensures the lowest rates possible for you and the fastest buying experience. Our service center has over 20 dedicated truck bays running 2 shifts, a contact-free sales process, and delivery drivers ready to deliver your truck right to your door. We know your time is important, so we make sure our process is quick and hassle-free. Find your new truck today at lynchtruckcenter.com or stop into the Lynch Truck Center at Highway 36 in Waterford. We won't disappoint you.
Westtown Archery has expanded. Hi, this is Fred from Westtown Archery in Brookfield. We've been outfitting bow hunters and target archers since 1964, and our newly remodeled and expanded shop is finally completed. You'll find the same great service, now in a bigger and better shop. Visit westtownarchery.com and we'll see you at the shop.
Westtown Archery's Cabin Fever sale is going on now. Save on all new and used bows and accessories, including Matthews, Bowtech, Hoyt, Elite, Bear, PSE, Mission, and more. We also sell and service all the top crossbow brands and accessories. T-Point, Raven, and Mission. Visit westtownarchery.com for details.
Renaissance Senior Living and Memory Care in New Berlin is an RN-owned and operated small business offering person-centered care. Renaissance Senior Living offers a home-like environment and even home-cooked meals. They have a low resident-to-staff ratio with highly trained staff that care for those with dementia and Parkinson's. Renaissance Senior Living's building is specifically designed to reduce falls and offers the ability to use lift devices. So tour today. Visit rslmemorycare.com.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. If you're a dad who is facing divorce, there are extra layers of stress that may include stereotypes and assumptions. No two situations are the same. Our legal experience and dedication prepare us for whatever legal challenges we face together. You need a partner you can count on. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has represented men in divorce.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Milwaukee attorneys. 111 East Kilbourne Avenue, Suite 1650, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 53202.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations waiting for you to explore right now, like Lost 80s, playing those songs you forgot you knew from the 80s. Gotta get back in time. Duran Duran, Huey Lewis, Tina Turner, and more, all commercial-free. Just open the free iHeartRadio app, search Lost 80s, and listen now. iHeartRadio. Free never sounded so good.
Be sure to listen to the NX Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. NX provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference.
This is where sycophants and chills are shunned, and commitment to the unvarnished truth is sustained. Just one reason that this is Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130, WISN.
Conservative thought, not just talk. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Welcome back to it. We are running the state's largest early vote drive here on the radio today and for the rest of the week throughout the early voting period. The AdventKnows.com talk and text line is 414-799-1130. All you do to take part is, first of all, you've got to early vote, and we are on the honor system. After you do, shoot me a text so we can log your vote. Producer Dave, at some point, you and I have to go through a week's worth of texts and try to figure out exactly how many early votes we have got in the state's largest early vote drive. My guess, my honest-to-goodness guess, is somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,000. That's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. Any vote that didn't come in early that's coming in now, I will claim as a win. I honestly have no idea. We get so many texts. I feel like I have to apologize to Jay Weber and Vicky McKenna on WISN. We're also using the same app. If they're actually reading texts on the air, you're getting a whole lot of, hey, Dan, I early voted. I don't care about Belling because A, he's not here, and B, do you think Belling even knows that he can read texts on the air? No, does not care either. That's why I love that man. Here we go. Dan, I just voted in Pewaukee. Not a lot of traffic, but the setup at City Hall was much better than any previous election where I voted early. Happy to see that. Thanks for all you do, Chris in Pewaukee. Hi, Dan. My husband and I voted Saturday in Manitowoc County. Listen every day. Keep up the great work, Mary. Thank you so much, Mary. Hi, Dan. Me and hubby voted Friday. That comes from Janet in DeForest. Hi, Dan. My husband and I voted early in person at Muskego City Hall. Thanks for all you do, Mary Lee. Chet and Joe voted Friday in Greenfield. Hi, Dan. This is Al in Tosa. I early voted. When the snow let up last Friday at your urging, I rolled in and out of City Hall in less than 10 minutes. So glad to have that off my mind. That's why we do this, folks, because it's easy and because you don't know when there's going to be another snowstorm. Look, the election is a week from tomorrow. It also happens to be the Brewers' opening day. That means 38 to 40,000 plus people are going to be at the Brewers game. Will they have time that day? Will they be, how should I put this, in the voting frame of mind after partying at the Brewers game all day? Who knows? That's why you got to vote early, folks. I am a huge proponent of it, as you know, and I want to get everybody voting early. In fact, I was out with my family last night. We went out to a restaurant. Had a wonderful time. My mom and her, they don't like the term boyfriend, girlfriend. So we call him my mom's man friend. They've been together 12 years. I don't know if it's like a boomer thing. I don't know if it's like a grown-up thing. I don't know. If you're dating in your 40s or 50s, do you call your significant other boyfriend, girlfriend? I don't know. I haven't been dating technically since 2009. I got married, and I mean, my wife and I had a kid for several years, so I didn't consider us dating. We were cohabiting, co-parenting, but so I've been out of the dating pool. My point is, I've been out of the dating pool for almost a quarter century. I don't know how these things work anymore. But anyway, I'm out at a restaurant, and this family was celebrating a 90th birthday. So happy birthday, good sir. I'm not going to use any names because I don't want to, identify. I'm not going to say where we were. But weirdly enough, my one of my best friends, a guy who I have been best friends with since about 4th, 5th grade, was there with his girlfriend or woman friend. I'm not exactly sure, again, the nomenclature. But they, one of the guys said, hey, Dan, like he waited until after dinner and just like, hey, Dan, real quick, can you say hi and happy birthday to my grandpa? By the way, remember, Dave, on the show where I couldn't remember who the lawyer was who does the Second Amendment stuff? So the guy who texted and said it's Tom Grieve happened to be there. It was a listener from Muskego, not Tom Grieve. It was the guy who told me. He's like, hey, just so you know, this is the guy who told you it was Tom Grieve. So I said hi to the family, and it was one young lady. Are you ready for this? I was filling in for Belling 10 years ago, and she still remembers that I spent a half hour talking about poop being dumped in Milwaukee's waterways by MMSD. And she said, I am the half hour of poop guy or turds guy or something like that. I'm like, that, I hope, is in the first paragraph of my obituary. I don't remember it. She was in middle school. Right? Now she's in her 20s. Yeah, Daddy was listening to the radio, and this weird guy was on talking about turds in the waterways, and this obviously stuck with her. So any way I can get young people to conservatism. If I got to talk about poop, I'm going to talk about poop. It is going to rain tonight, so maybe kids, a lot of them are on spring break, listen tomorrow for an hilarious discussion about poop. Who would have ever guessed that the city of Milwaukee dumps a lot of poop in the rivers and the lake every time it rains? Such is living here. But it was wonderful. And you know what they said? Hey, Dan, we all early voted at your insistence. So thank you, dear listeners. And just for that young lady who grew up, you heard of Belling babies, Rush babies. Apparently, we've got the poop babies who listen to Dan O'Donnell as kids. Excellent. Well, look at this. Another good buddy of mine, he's taking his car to Mander. He had an unfortunate incident where he needed a new window, and he just said, hey, Dan, got the estimate. They were great, wonderful people. I'm taking the car back April 2nd for the repair. Thanks again. And yeah, they took care of him. So kudos to Mander Glass. I am all over the place this segment. We do have to get down to business. Very shocking announcement. Congressman Mike Gallagher announced a couple of weeks ago that he was not going to seek another term in Congress. And I haven't spoken to the congressman, but it seemed to me that he wanted to move on. He's like a relatively young guy. I believe he's 40, maybe late 30s, and he's got a young family, and, he wants to do something else. Okay, that's fine. A lot of people don't want to make career in Congress a 20, 30-year thing. And I speculated, because this is generally what happened, is he's got a job either working in the defense industry. I thought for sure that man was on Fox News more than Sean Hannity. I thought for sure, good-looking guy, very well-spoken, very intelligent dude. I thought for sure he was going to pull a Trey Gowdy, or he was going to pull a Sean Duffy, right? Go to Fox News. I was actually praying for that because I'm like, hey, can I ride your coattails all the way? No. Yeah, they did. I was going to ride Sean Duffy's coattails. They did an air check on me, and I happened to be doing a half hour where I was just talking about poop. Turns out I'm not Fox News material. Go figure. But I thought for sure he was going to go to Fox News. And I said, all right, he's not seeking re-election. It's a relatively safe Republican district. So what does it really matter? Well, he has announced that effective April 19th, he is going to leave Congress early. Now, he's citing a family issue. And frankly, folks, I'm not going to get into speculation. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to take this at face value and say, look, I think he wanted to leave early. I think he wanted to get started on the next step of his career. I don't think he wanted to go back and forth. Now, does it put the Republican Party in an incredibly difficult position now that they only have a one-seat majority? Yes, especially since Marjorie Taylor Greene is now trying to do a kamikaze mission against the Speaker, Mike Johnson. People are saying, well, nobody's going to support this. It's dead in the water. All MTG needs is 2 Republicans, and every single Democrat will vote with her, okay? So let's not pretend that this is a nothing burger. Gallagher, however, is taking heat for delaying his resignation from Congress so that there can't be a special election. And people are, well, we're not represented in Congress. This is terrible. But frankly, folks, Congress isn't going to be in session much longer because it's an election year, so everybody goes back to the districts to campaign. I don't think it's all that big of a deal, frankly. I don't. And let's say Gallagher is going to resign effective immediately, and we're going to hold a special election when? April 2nd? Little late to print up those ballots, isn't it? The point is that, I think Gallagher is doing a favor to whomever it is that eventually runs and wins that seat. Roger Roth and Andre Jacques are the 2 announced Republican candidates to replace him in that district. He would be doing them a favor because think about it like this. Both of them would have to expend a whole lot more money to run in a special election, because running as the incumbent would be a huge advantage. So you would have to spend a ton of money very, very quickly. Let's say it's not particularly likely, but let's say the Democrat wins. Then you've got to face a Democrat incumbent. Again, it's an overwhelmingly Republican district. It's not particularly likely, but who knows? And what's the point of holding a special election 3 months before the primary election? It doesn't make any sense, so I have no real issue. Now, as for the idea that somehow Gallagher, because his resignation, his announcement that he wasn't going to run for another term in Congress came almost immediately after he voted against the impeachment of Alejandro Mayorkas, the Secretary of Homeland Security. There are people who say he's doing this intentionally to screw the Republican Party because he's a rhino and he's secretly working with Democrats. Folks, let's not think too deeply about this. Let's not let our minds just sort of go off in different directions. Here's what I know about politicians, every single one of them. Do you know which constituent they care the absolute most about? And it's not even close. Themselves. Do you know which other constituents they care the most about? Their families. My guess, and again, I have no inside knowledge, is that Gallagher has a new job. He wants to make more money. Now, here's the thing that invariably just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. They go to work usually in the industries where they sat on the committees. So it wouldn't shock me if Gallagher gets a job in the defense industry. And then there's a moratorium on lobbying for these companies for a couple of years until after you leave Congress. So you've got to serve at the company until you can actually lobby. So they get you a job doing, I don't know, PR or whatever it is for a couple of $100,000. And then the second that you're allowed to lobby, you go right back to Washington and make $700,000 a year lobbying. Personally, I would advocate for a lifetime ban on all members of Congress ever serving as lobbyists. I know a lot of people say, well, there should be a ban on members of Congress trading stocks. Frankly, I've got a constitutional issue with that, but not serving in an industry where they are literally paying you. It leaves you open to the idea that someone else is pulling the strings. For example, easily the most classic example, yes, I know Biden, but Barack Obama. Do you realize Netflix paid Barack and Michelle Obama $100 million to develop content for Netflix? What could the Obamas possibly produce? Has Barack or Michelle ever had any experience in producing television shows or documentaries or movies? Of course not. They were hired as a way of saying thank you for doing whatever job they did on behalf of Netflix. This is the thing that it is just so, and there's not, this is an equal opportunity thing. It's everybody in Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter. They all cash in after they leave office. And oftentimes, they cash in. If you take a look, whoever the member of Congress is, right? Just take a look at what committees they sat on, what they're doing, what their area of focus is while in Congress, and then take a look at where they get hired after they leave Congress. It's absolutely fascinating, frankly. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show. We'll be right back in just a second.
Keep in touch with Dan on Twitter @Dan O'Donnell Show. More of the show is next.
Join us for our 2024 iHeartRadio Music Awards, live from the Dolby Theater in Hollywood.
Monday, April 1st. Watch on Fox, starting at 7 p.m. and listen on the free iHeartRadio app.
Otezla Aprenolast is a proud partner of the iHeartRadio Music Awards, a celebration of artists and the fans who got them there. The fans who make the music truly come alive through their energy and positive vibes. To the fans that make live music possible, we salute you.
Welcome back to Ask Hassleus.
If you could spend 1 month anywhere, where would you go?
Easy. I'd go to bed.
I mean anywhere in the world.
Precisely.
You'd spend the entire month in bed?
Specifically, a new Tempur-Pedic from Hassleus Mattress.
Why?
Because I can take 60 months to pay for it. Through Monday, get 60 months interest-free financing on select Tempur-Pedic mattresses, plus a $300 MasterCard gift card.
60 months. That means...
You can buy a Queen Tempur-Pedic Pro Adapt Hybrid with ease adjustable base for just $74 a month.
And I get a $300 MasterCard gift card.
Free next-day delivery and employee-free showrooms, too.
So I can try and buy...
With no pushy sales guy.
Hang on.
What are you doing?
Searching for a travel agent to book a month-long vacation at Hassleus Mattress.
Enjoy 60 months interest-free financing on select Tempur-Pedics through Monday at Hassleus Mattress. Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you or shop online at hassleus.com.
Tune in every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. as Ellen Becker Investment Group highlights local people and organizations who are using their time and their talents to give back to make a difference in our community. Milwaukee's philanthropic community. Visit ellenbecker.com to learn more.
If you're someone who's experiencing shoulder, spine, hip, knee, or musculoskeletal pain and a total joint replacement might be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Their physicians specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center. See orthowisconsin.com.
Hey guys, Donald Trump Jr. here. Let me ask you this. Does inflation feel worse than what we're being told in the news? That's because the official inflation rate doesn't tell the whole story. Since January 2021, the cost of living has increased by 17.9%. You can't get that money back, but what you can do is stop your losses today. How? By diversifying your savings into a gold IRA from my friends at Birch Gold Group. When you're done, your money will be parked in a tangible asset with a proven history. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word SECURE to 989898. I trust Birch Gold. They provide an easy process to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold without losing your tax advantaged status. So text SECURE to 989898. That's SECURE to the number 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show, where we are hosting the state's largest early vote drive. Just voted early in Tosa. I did not bring my lefty wife. I don't think she realizes that we will be at opening day on Tuesday. Ha ha, one for the good guys. I am not going to read that man's name because I don't want to be responsible for a divorce. Great work, though, sir. Dan, picture of my wife and daughter voting early while my daughter is home on spring break before she travels to New Orleans with her boyfriend. Dan and Jory in New Berlin early voted today. My wife and I early voted in Brookfield today. I'm a poll worker April 2nd. That comes from Mike in Brookfield. Dan, I voted early in the village of Caledonia today from Carol. Hey, Dan, left for Mexico today. Made sure to take the wife and son to early vote on Friday. That comes from Andy. We do have some breaking news. Former President Donald Trump's bond has been reduced to $175 million. An appeals court has granted a stay of judgment in that fraud case, giving him now 10 days to post the $175 million as opposed to the full judgment of $454 million. This just broke a second ago. I believe we will hear from President Trump outside of the courthouse. That's what I'm hearing anyway on social media. If that happens before 11 o'clock, we will, of course, take it. But the big news, New York State Court of Appeals has agreed to issue a stay of the $450 million bond verdict that the judge in that case, Arthur Engeron, agreed to from Letitia James. So bottom line, Trump Tower will not become Tish Tower today. Trump has an additional 10 days to come up with $175 million. And nothing, folks, frankly, has disgusted me more or made me laugh more about liberals just willfully being ignorant of how finance works than making fun of Trump for being unable to come up with $450 million in cash. There is zero chance Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, or any of the other wealthiest men in the world have $450 million in cash right now. I can guarantee it. You know why? Because $450 million in cash put into even the most conservative of investments will be generating you millions and millions and millions of dollars every single year just in interest. Any money, I think if I were to text Dave Spano and say, Dave, I just won the Mega Millions, which, by the way, was there a winner or is it going to be up to $1 billion now? It's $1 billion now. There was no winner on Friday. Shows how much I pay attention to the lottery. Powerball is tonight. I have no idea. Is Powerball up huge? That's $750 million too? Wow, where have I been? All right, let's say I win the Mega Millions on Wednesday or whenever the drawing is. And I go to Dave Spano because clearly if I won that amount of money, my very first call would be to Dave Spano. And it would be, hey, Dave, please don't rob my house and murder me for my lottery ticket. But also, I won the lottery. I'm thinking I'm going to take the lump sum $450 million and just sit on a pile of cash. I think he might actually kill me, not for the ticket, but just because I'm that stupid of an investor. The idea that anybody would have that amount of money or should have that amount of money in cash that is immediately liquid it just reveals how little Democrats know about personal finance or anything, honestly. But good news for former President Trump. And actually, Frank Luntz was on, was it Fox, CNN, one of them, over the weekend and said, look, I've got polling that says either way this New York State verdict goes, Trump comes out a winner. Because people, and the polling is starting to reflect this, recognize how unjust this is. That they're just going to seize his assets because he defrauded nobody, and you're using some esoteric interpretation of state law to try to claim that the state of New York generally was the victim of your fraud, even though there was no complaining witness. There was no bank that said, oh yeah, Trump inflated his assets and defrauded us. All of the money that Trump borrowed was paid back. The two parties had what's known in the law as a meeting of the minds. They came to an agreement about interest rates. And by the way, do you think there is any bank in the world that is going to take, of all people, Donald Trump's word for it about how much he's worth? Trump posted on Truth Social over the weekend that he won the club championship. He's 78 years old. He won the senior club championship at a golf course, and he also won the regular club championship. Do you know what club he won? Whose championship? What club? His own. I'm just saying. I know we golf at Morningstar all the time. Very proud sponsor of our radio station. The guy who wins the club championship, Michael Crowley, the PGA Tour pro, I don't even know if he's eligible to play because he's so good. This guy is an incredible golfer. He shoots like a 68. He'll shoot below par. Are you telling me a 78-year-old guy is going to beat, not in Wisconsin, not at a random club in Wisconsin, but at Mar-a-Lago, at one of the premier golf courses in the entire world? He won. Okay. My point, obviously, and people are, oh, Dan hates Trump. No, my point is that Trump is what you would call, if he was one of your buddies, a BSer, right? You love the guy, but it's a little inflated what he's saying here. So there's no bank in the world that's just going to, well, Trump says his Mar-a-Lago property is worth $75 billion. I agree. It's also not, as Engeron laughably concluded, worth $18 million. Rush Limbaugh's property in the same city, Palm Beach, was just sold for $155 million, and it's very likely the house is going to be torn down. In Florida, as in a whole lot of places like New York, California, the house is the least expensive thing on the property. The land itself is worth infinitely more than the property. And you're telling me that a massive home and resort and all of this, on the land alone for Mar-a-Lago is worth at least $150 to $200 million. In any event, the bond downgraded. It was put down to $175 million, which I still think is unlikely that someone can come up with $175 million in cash, but we'll see. We have much more, including the UW-Madison diversity czar caught up in an ongoing plagiarism scandal. A complaint filed against him. That story next.
Conservative thought, not just talk. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for the Lynch family of dealerships. I've been a big proponent of Lynch for a while now. Here's why. They're literally a family dealership and have been since 1957. That's increasingly rare in the dealership world today, but the Lynch family employs 500 plus people who are all dedicated to taking care of you. They've got a wide selection of new and used vehicles, extended service department hours for early drop-offs and late pickups, and most importantly, they're proud supporters of our local communities and schools. They also stand behind what they sell with Lynch-certified used vehicles, including a 168-point inspection to determine eligibility, an unparalleled 90-day or 3,000-mile certified guarantee, and a 10-day 500-mile exchange policy. And when you pair this with the Lynch Protected program, they cover your paint, your windshield, and your tires. It's easy to see why you should consider Lynch. Check them out today at shoplynch.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Hot summer night. Lightning strike. Down goes the tree, right through their bedroom wall, nearly ruining a walnut headboard, which is pretty hard wood. Fortunately, the customers were okay. But the headboard? That wasn't. Until they called us. We made that Victorian headboard better than new. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing, repair, and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. Well, if you haven't heard me bragging by now, we're darn good. Actually, my dad has no qualms about saying we're the best. And if you're skeptical, I understand. But all you have to do is go to MullallyFinishing.com to learn why we're great at what we do and see lots of before and after photos that show off our impressive work. So if you're looking for a name you can trust, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY Finishing.com.
He has more energy and sleeps better, and his wife told him he no longer snores. John's decision to come to Advent changed his life. We can help change your life, too.
AdventNotes.com.
The
Wisconsin Conservative Digest presents another voterly rally this Tuesday from 5 to 9 p.m. at Palace Restaurant, Highway 100 just south of Greenfield Avenue in West Allis. Enjoy some food and drink and listen to several great speakers this Tuesday evening from 5 to 9 p.m. at Palace Restaurant in West Allis. Sponsored by Pro-Life Wisconsin, Wisconsin NRA members, Tea Party conservatives, and 4th District GOP Bob Spindell. Don't miss the voterly rally at Palace Restaurant in West Allis, Tuesday evening.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here. Are you all about the NBA action as much as I am? Well, if you are, you've got to try Pick 6, the newest fantasy app from DraftKings, an official partner of the NBA. Right now, new customers can earn a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 in Pick 6 credits. All you need to do is deposit $5 or more, and getting started, it's about as easy as can be. Just download the DraftKings Pick 6 app, sign up with code WISN. You've got to use code WISN to take advantage of this offer. And then playing is just as easy. Pick at least 2 players. Pick if they're going to have more or less of a stat. Will they score more than 30 points? Will they have fewer than 8 rebounds? The choice is yours. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and get started with code WISN. New customers can earn a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 in Pick 6 credits when you deposit $5 or more. Only on DraftKings Pick 6 with code WISN. The crown is yours. One offer per new customer. Minimum $5 deposit to receive a match of up to $100 in Pick 6 credits. Non-withdrawable and valid for Pick 6 use only. Expire after 180 days. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 18 plus in most eligible states. Age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. Pick 6 not available in all states. For up-to-date list of states, visit dkng.co/pick6states. Void where prohibited. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Semper-Fi Roofing and Exteriors, where reputation matters and character counts. Veteran-owned and operated. Go to semperfiroofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper-Fi.
Dan Voss, owner at Cut and Go here. Bad winter tree damage? Call Cut and Go. We'll bring a chipper and loader and get your property looking beautiful and your trees prepared for maximum recovery this year. A tons of trees movement. cutandgotrees.com.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Get started with your no-hassle refi checkup by clicking on the blue button at Accunet.com.
Talk Radio.
Redefined.
You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
This doesn't happen very often, folks, but I admit I missed a story. Forbes is reporting that Congressman Mike Gallagher is resigning his office on April 19th because he's taking a job with Palantir. This is a defense company. They have made their way into medical technology as well. I had heard that it was going to be a company in the defense industry. Basically, what Palantir does is they use algorithms, AI, and they sort of made for the name for themselves in the war on terror era, where they would try to use data to predict terror attacks. And now they're branching into using this to sort of predict medical maladies. It's remarkable, the technology that they have. But Gallagher, according to Forbes, has taken a job with Palantir. And again, my theory stands. So he's going to work for Palantir for... what's the moratorium on lobbying? 3 years, 5 years, whatever it is. And then his salary gets dramatically inflated as he becomes a lobbyist. This is what happens. Now, do I blame him for doing this? No, because it's legal. Do I think this is a thing that should be legal? No, I don't. That said, it would be an unfair and unlawful restriction on trade to say, okay, because Gallagher is still a citizen, he leaves Congress, he can go work for whomever he wants. It's the part of politics that I absolutely despise. And it just gives the appearance that you have spent your time in Congress working on behalf of companies that then immediately hire you. So... apparently Gallagher going to work for Palantir. His start date is April 19th. Do you think Do you think there's like an onboarding process? He's, got to sit through the HR video, and that's why he's got to leave early? Or I'm not exactly sure. All right. Welcome back, Dan O'Donnell Show. Classical conservatism, contemporary style. Brand new complaint against UW-Madison's ethics. Freudian slip there. This is the exact opposite of ethics. DEI czar LeVar Charleston. He teaches in the university's School of Education, and according to the Washington Free Beacon, he has a decades-long track record of research misconduct. That includes presenting old studies as new research, which he has done at least 5 times over the course of his career. The complaint was filed anonymously and implicates 8 of his publications, many of them co-authored, and accuses him of plagiarizing other scholars as well as duplicating his own work. It comes as the university is already investigating Charleston over a separate complaint filed in January, alleging that a 2014 study by him and his wife, Harvard's chief diversity officer, Sherry Ann Charleston, is a facsimile of a study he published in 2012. In January, LeVar won a Lifetime Achievement Award for Excellence in Higher Education. The university trumpeted the award in a press release, praising his unwavering dedication to creating inclusive environments in academia and noting his wealth of academic accolades. His curriculum vitae, however, appears to have been inflated by duplicate publication, the practice of publishing the same research in multiple journals without attribution. In 2014, for example, he published a pair of papers in 2 separate journals, the Journal of Diversity in Higher Education and the Journal of Progressive Policy and Practice, that are near verbatim copies of each other. There are also examples of this in the Washington Free Beacon's online report, and it's word for word. The man clearly was self-plagiarizing, which is another form of plagiarizing. It's perfectly fine to cite your own research, but you have to present it as research that was already done, not new research. That's academic fraud when you do that. And there are multiple examples. The Washington Free Beacon has published its own analysis in addition to the complaint that was filed last week. Now, LeVar has himself a checkered past. Shortly after he joined UW-Madison as a researcher 15 years ago in 2009, he was charged in 2011 with attempting to strangle a police officer. According to documents obtained by the McIver Institute, he avoided conviction through the Deferred Prosecution Program, a local initiative run by the DA's office that offers first-time felons the chance to do community service in lieu of jail time and removes their arrest records from public databases. In an interview in 2020, even with a PhD, I'm looked at as a criminal. It has to be because of my color. No, LeVar, it has to do with the fact that you're a criminal. You tried to strangle a police officer, something criminals do. The arrest, of course, did not stop Charleston from climbing the ranks of the school's diversity bureaucracy. Between 2010 and 2017, he helped to build Wisconsin's Equity and Inclusion Laboratory, which conducts research on inclusive learning. He became Assistant Vice Chancellor of Student Diversity at UW-Whitewater in 2017, then served as the inaugural Dean of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at UW-Madison School of Education, the 3rd-ranked educational school in the country, according to U.S. News and World Report. He became Chief Diversity Officer of the entire university in 2021. UW-Madison has no choice. It has to fire LeVar Charleston. The examples are so clear-cut. He has violated the school's policy on academic fraud multiple times. He has inflated his entire body of work. He has essentially advanced through the ranks of diversity by, you know what my favorite new acronym is? DEI actually stands for Didn't Earn It. That certainly applies to LeVar Charleston. But UW-Madison is in a difficult position now. Does it dare fire or even discipline in any way its chief diversity officer? If there is a position that's more bulletproof in academia than chief diversity officer, I would love to hear it. If, however, UW-Madison is interested in being thought of as an elite research school, as an elite university, because after Friday, it can no longer be considered an elite basketball school. Yick. What did I tell you, Dave? How much time did I spend last week saying, hey, whole lot of people are predicting James Madison to upset UW-Madison in basketball. Look what happened. They basically won that game wire to wire. Yeah. Tony Evers. Hey, how about, can we get a shout out for Scott Bauer of the Associated Press and Jesse Apayan of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, who are writing articles. How dare Eric Hovde not pick Wisconsin to win the NCAA tournament? They get bounced in the first round. Yick. Dan O'Donnell Show, right back in a second.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services and host of the Designer Yard Show. I want to share a landscaping secret with you. Winter is when our ornamental trees and shrubs need us most. We all know that plants need pruning, but why in the winter? Well, first, we can see their structure best when the leaves have fallen. And second, pruning is not so stressful when your plants are dormant. Pruning is affordable and makes a huge impact on the vitality and beauty of your trees and shrubs. So prune this winter and have gorgeous flowers next spring and summer. Pruning also helps keep your plants properly sized. No more dancing around them on the sidewalk or wrestling through them to wash your windows. Call today and schedule a complimentary evaluation of your ornamental plants. Our plant care experts will make sure your trees, shrubs, and perennials perform and look their best. Discover the wonders of nature. Call Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services at 262-392-3444 or look for us online at seasonalservices.com.
The most common form of treatment for the arthritic joints is normally cortisone injections and gel shots and over-the-counter medications. And most patients have tried all of that and are still in pain.
Every day, Dr. Aaron Wolkoff, a QC Kinetics medical director, meets patients who have exhausted every method to get relief. They've been told surgery is their only option.
They want to stay away from that path, and they come to us almost as the last hope. So we're using our own body's properties to help manage pain, to help slow arthritis down, keep the patients active with no downtime, and get them back to what they enjoy doing. I mean, I love what I do.
QC Kinetics regenerative treatments from our board-certified providers help heal and restore aching joints. No surgery, harmful drugs, or downtime. Call for your free consultation today.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
What's the way to build your wealth?
I want to talk about annuities and variable life insurance policies. And I'm going to come right out and say that I've never been a fan of either. In fact, in over 30 years, I have rarely recommended annuities to clients. And in that same time, I've never recommended a variable life insurance policy. Now, it's always a matter of opinion, and there are two sides to every story. I just want to make sure that you've heard both sides for both options. So if you're looking at those types of products, give us a call, because it's prudent to hear all sides. At the very least, we can give you the pros and cons and help you make a good decision. I'm Jim Cantrell with Financial Strategies, Inc., a fee-only, comprehensive financial planning firm, and I believe we can show you a wiser way to build your wealth. So go to financialstrategiesinc.com and schedule a no-cost consultation.
Financial strategies, a wiser way to build your wealth.
America, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you don't have Consumer Cellular yet, now is the perfect time to switch and save. For a limited time, new customers can get wireless service for as low as $15 a month for your first year. Yep, the same exact nationwide coverage as the leading carriers for $15 a month for an entire year. What are you waiting for? Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com and use code RADIO15.
See consumercellular.com/firstyear15 for promotional details.
Hey, it's Jesse Kelly. Are you still on the fence about owning gold? It's time to pull the trigger with the Oxford Gold Group and buy gold and silver. Nobody can predict the future, but we can't put our head in the sand either. The Oxford Gold Group are the pros. They make owning gold and silver simple and easy to understand. Call Oxford Gold Group right now and you may qualify for up to $10,000 in free precious metals. Call 833-995-GOLD. That's 833-995-GOLD.
Hi, it's John Reitz from Great Midwest Bank, and as a community bank, we sincerely appreciate our customer loyalty. Over nearly 90 years, we've done all we can to return the favor. Great Midwest Bank offers flexible solutions that bigger banks and credit unions simply can't, because our entire team is right here in the community. We love helping our neighbors when we're at work and then catching up over the weekend. Visit us at greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
Choose from countless luxury flooring options at Flawless Flooring's New Berlin or Delafield Idea Gallery. Flawless Flooring's employee-only installers beautify your everyday going forward right after eliminating carpet stains and stink. Sensory underload, Flawless Flooring. FlawlessFlooringLLC.com.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368. At Wisconsin's own Accunet Mortgage, our closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 less than the banks or the mortgage guys with the Rocket for exactly the same rate. Find out how much you can save at ACCUNET.com.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
We are awaiting former President Trump's reaction to his bond reduced to $175 million. The New York Court of Appeals has stepped in and is giving Trump 10 days now to come up with $175 million. This was reduced from $450 million plus. The deadline was today. I sort of suspected that the appeals court would have to step. It's so beyond unreasonable. $175 million is unreasonable too, but $450 million. There is not a man alive who has $450 million in cash. Just none. So we are awaiting that. Other big news from Friday. We touched on what an insane day Friday was. Massive terror attack in Russia. Here locally, Congressman Mike Gallagher suddenly announcing that he's stepping down, apparently to go work at Palantir. And Princess Catherine, Kate Middleton, announcing to the world that she has been diagnosed with cancer. You know, this to me is a story not about the whole Kate-spiracy thing. The media, I love this. All of the tut-tut-tutting on Friday. Well, don't you people feel bad for all the crazy conspiracies that you came up with as to where Kate was? She was dealing with a difficult diagnosis. She did not say what sort of cancer she had. It is believed to be stomach or ovarian cancer. She is undergoing what she's calling preventive chemotherapy. So we have no idea the severity of it. And this is on the heels of King Charles announcing that he has prostate cancer and has been undergoing treatment for that since around the same time. The same media that was doing the tut-tut-tutting on Friday was the very same fanning the flames of conspiracy. Honest to goodness, did you care where Princess Catherine was? Oh, wait, here we go. We got to interrupt. Former President Donald Trump speaking right now outside of the courthouse.
Knew that there was a break in the case. I'm going to ask my team, can we listen to him now? I know we were trying to ride audio.
We are on Fox News. There apparently is an audio issue. Okay, here we go.
Thank you very much. Would you accept for
Oh, looks like he's not speaking. All right, so we had a lot of Harris Faulkner, not a whole lot of former President Trump. There was apparently an audio issue because there was no microphone set up. So is it Harris Faulkner who's on right now? Yeah, it's Harris. So Harris was saying, hey, it wasn't Fox News trying to censor Trump. They're saying, hey, there's no microphone. Can we get audio? Like, are we going to be able to hear him? So he didn't say much. He just said, hey, thank you for your support. We'll be talking about this later. He did post on Truth Social that this is the 5th time this case has gotten overturned. That's not entirely true. It wasn't overturned. It was the bond was knocked down. This is obviously going to be appealed, and my guess is that this is going to be appealed to the United States Supreme Court because just on its face, this appears to be a violation of the Constitution. You're setting a judgment at $450 million. To me, the entire law that says, okay, there can be essentially a financial crime that was taking place without a victim. So to me, the concept of civil asset forfeiture has always kind of skirted the line of unconstitutionality for me. The idea that Minnesota, for example, if you get a couple of DUIs, they take your car, no questions asked, and I don't even believe you have an adequate avenue for appeal. It's just an automatic, your car's gone. Now, wait a second. Let's say Dave drives an $80,000 Mercedes and I drive a $5,000 beater, and we both are convicted of third offense OWI. We both have our car seized. Clearly, Dave is paying quite a bit more than I am, right? Because his car is worth so much more. So the entire concept of civil asset forfeiture makes the libertarian in me just sort of recoil in horror. We will, of course, have much more on the unfolding situation in New York with former President Trump coming up, as I am going to be sitting in for one more week this month. It is Holy Week. I just realized this. Has any week felt less like Holy Week than the week that we've got randomly snow on the ground after the first week of spring? I will be back on the Mark Belling late afternoon show at 3 o'clock this afternoon.